Using Public Records to Streamline Your Firm with Shauna Gaus, episode 91. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Profit with Law. I am your host, Moshe Amsel, and today I have another guest interview for you. My guest today is Shauna Gaus from Tracers. Now, Shauna and I crossed paths initially when I was doing sponsorship research and looking for sponsors for the Law Firm Growth Summit back in third quarter of 2019, leading to our event in December of 2019. That event has gone absolutely great. It was not a good fit for Shauna at the time with Tracers and getting behind our event, but it started a conversation that has continued, and Shauna joined us on one of our live streams during the COVID live stream series that we did, and is now joining us on this interview. I'm really honored to have her here today, and let me just tell you a little bit about her here. So she is a trail runner, artist, entrepreneur, mother, and living in San Francisco, getting ready to move. Actually, that was when she wrote this. That was a while ago. I believe you could see in the interview, I think we mentioned it, I'm not sure, but they were taking a road trip down to the Bay Area in Tampa, Florida, because that's where Tracers is located. So I believe she's relocated there or is on her way down there. Regardless, this is a wonderful conversation and a real eye-opener into not just what Tracers does, but how you can use data and the compilation data and the existence of data and the manipulation of it to streamline and automate a lot of the things that you're doing right now manually. And it doesn't matter what practice area. She makes a case for many practice areas throughout the interview. So it was very informative for me. I never even knew this whole world existed, but apparently there's a lot of public records and public information out there, and Tracers has been gathering that stuff for 25 years or something like that, and have many tools that allow you to be able to access that in a very easy, concise fashion. So great interview with Shauna. Enjoy it. And if you are new to the show, you enjoy the episode, check out our other episodes, hit the subscribe button, make sure to stay tuned to our channel. We come to you twice a week. Tuesdays, it's just me with a solo episode. Thursdays, we do an interview episode, and we have a whole bunch of interviews lined up for you. We really have gotten the inventory chock full right now, so we'll definitely be doing interviews on Thursdays for the foreseeable future. So without taking any more time, I'm going to jump right into that interview. Here it is for you now. Shauna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here today, Moshe.
It's my absolute pleasure. Now, Shauna, you sit in a unique position as a VP in what I understand to be a technology company that services the legal industry, Tracers. And first of all, whenever I see a woman who is in that, those top seats at a company and making changes in the industry, I love it because I have 4 daughters, 1 son, and I do believe that, especially in the legal industry, there's a lot more male dominance, and I'm looking for that to shift. So I really love the fact that you're a VP in that seat. And now I'm curious to know a little bit about your story. We always start with, what's your story? How did you get there? But I know that you're a mom. I know that you've got kids. So I'm curious to know how your journey got you to where you are, and how you were able to navigate that balance between being a parent and the corporate ladder?
Yes. Well, I love entrepreneurship, and I was years ago was working with a healthcare online learning management system company, and I was a co-founder of that, and did that for many years, and took a break to raise some of my children, and then came back and found Tracers, and I've now been with Tracers almost 3 years. And what attracted me to Tracers is, though it's been a company that's been around for almost 24 years, it is essentially, it felt like somewhat of a startup to me. And that's kind of where my sweet spot is. I like to be able to join technology companies that are creative and going through big moments of change. And so it's been an incredible 3 years so far. And yes, the managing, the work, the children, the family, all of that is, I think, for especially, well, at least for me, is I'm constantly having to balance many things. I've got lots of balls in the air at once, but that's where I thrive, and that's what keeps me excited and intellectually engaged, and it's my norm. So I like it.
Awesome, awesome. So that's great. One question that immediately jumped into mind is you know Tracers is a tech company, 24 years old. So tell me a little bit more about Tracers and what exactly do they do and what were they doing 24 years ago, and is that the same thing they're doing today?
Excellent question. So 24 years ago, Tracers was founded. It was one of the original public record companies to be going on the internet and aggregating data and then attaching it to a public record. So basically you would have, there's out of the hundreds of millions of individuals in the United States, our data only covers the United States. It would attach, addresses, phone numbers, contact information to the individual. And originally, it's been, Tracer services many different industries, whether it be law enforcement, it can be utilized in the background screening industry for certified fraud examiners. And so there's lots of different, types of credentialed organizations that utilize our data. However, it was these past couple of years, what we've realized is that there really are attorneys, and there's a huge need for attorneys to utilize this technology. And so that has really been kind of what at least my focus has been, is educating attorneys and the legal vertical on Tracers, and also adding even newer products that can help attorneys, win cases even more.
Very interesting. And my ears perk up when I hear law enforcement. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a paramedic myself. I do it now as a hobby, but I did do it full time for a number of years. A lot of friends in the police department and then law enforcement, and then my wife is a probation officer as well. So she too is in law enforcement. So I'm curious now. Hey, honey, do you guys use Tracers? But give me some use case examples for a law firm, for an attorney. How would they go ahead and use your product, and how does that differ or complement the big search tools like LexisNexis and those?
So we are similar. So LexisNexis and, Westlaw, they also have a public record platform like Tracers. So we are comparable to, like a People Map, I believe what it's called, or an Accurate. That's what essentially Tracers also is. And however, what we're finding is nowadays there are a lot of attorneys that maybe they don't have the budget to utilize one of these larger companies, like some of our competitors, or they may be using, some of the other legal research providers, such as a Fast Case or a Casemaker or a Case Text. And so what we have found is that Tracers then can be just an excellent complementary public record tool to those traditional case software companies.
Awesome. So What practice areas would have the need for this public record information specifically?
I would, I think there's a use case for almost every practice area. And I'm happy to, I can kind of go through, the most general purpose is to find people. And so that could be for locating witnesses, persons of interest, and that our product that utilizes or helps people find people is called our basic people search. And this is where, you can pull, from you can get a person's name, their aliases, kind of what they're also known as. So if it's a John Smith, it could be, a Jonathan Smith. So you can search for someone through different ways of that. The people search then would give family members, then with also the degrees of separations. So that you could, and also identifies a spouse. There's also a diamond next to the report that can say, okay, this is a spouse. And then you also, the basic people search would also give, it's a 40-year address history. So it really kind of gives a lot of information packed into that one report. And examples of how this would be used is for a probate case, an attorney would can utilize tracers to find maybe an estranged person, or someone that they're trying to locate and they can't find. And we hear stories of this all the time. One was a client had they were able to locate an estranged son that literally had not been seen in 20 years. And they were able to find him through our address history and then make contact. They also have also for using this basic people search is for collections. So lots of collection attorneys, what is called right party contact, and is essential to their business. And finding that, and oftentimes they will have to find those right party contacts in high volumes. And so they would need to know, okay, what is the latest phone number, or cell number? And this is stuff, cell numbers, you can't even get that on public records from going on the internet and doing that. It's important to know that our database has, we aggregate from over, thousands and thousands of sources. So there's like 42 billion records. So we're able to go and kind of glean out that one piece of information that attorney needs for their case. So those are a couple examples for the finding people. Then the second kind of main use case scenario in which we see attorneys using tracers is for due diligence. And that is essentially so they can get a complete and accurate picture of people as well as businesses. And so to do this, the best report to run, or the product, is called our comprehensive report. And this is what we affectionately refer to as our kitchen sink report. And it includes all of the basic people search information, but then this also has, it will give a person's assets, their birth records, their marriage and divorce records, arrests, indictments, convictions, sex offender status, business affiliations, licenses. It really gives you that 360-degree view of an individual. And that is for if you're really needing to kind of go and do a more in-depth due diligence on someone. And I'll give you a couple of impact examples in which that for attorneys. And, one was, we had a client that, the attorney was looking to take on a client for a case, and because he had said that he had never been, charged with an alcohol-related crime. However, the attorney was able to go and, from running this comprehensive report, easily see that, he had, 2 previous DUIs, from the early, 2000s that his client did not share with him, and which is very pertinent information, right? When you're representing somebody. And, and the client thought, oh, well, this is, I thought that they went away after 5 years. But, as an attorney, when you're working a case, you want to know, you don't want to be surprised by information that your opposing counsel may have on your client, you're going to want to know that beforehand. I can also, there's another, we also have a new report, which is the instant new arrest data. And this is also, a really powerful report. And that is a divorce, an attorney that was representing a client in a divorce custody case had, had utilized this real-time incarceration report, which says that you can track when someone has been arrested, which is important. And so the attorney immediately got, notification that one of the parents was arrested. And that is obviously going to be pertinent data for your case, especially if it has to do with child custody, or so that's another case example. And then the third is, maybe it's more for financially, when there's a lot of personal injury cases where you may utilize tracers. We have a lot of the bankruptcies, tax liens, and judgment reports, and that also is really important for attorneys to know who they would pursue, and then what that pursuit looks like. I'll pause, but there's more, but I'm going to pause because that was a lot of information.
Absolutely, and very, very comprehensive for sure, and my wheels are spinning. Now, let me ask you, I know for a fact that there's a number of estate planning attorneys that listen to this podcast, and my friend Neil Tyra over at The Law Entrepreneur, also an estate planning attorney. As you're going through these use case scenarios, I'm just wondering, is there an example you can come up with where an estate planning attorney might have use for this public record information, one of your search examples for them?
Absolutely. So I would say for those attorneys, locating asset and business information is very important. And so that you know what you're dealing with. And so, maybe that there are other, properties or, condos or houses that who you're representing maybe doesn't even know about. Just by running our simple asset report, you can see, every whether that be boat, vehicle, a yacht, airplanes, any kind of real-time property that you will see with one report, those type of assets, which is incredibly powerful. As well as then businesses. Okay, what businesses is this person tied to? Like, how do we, how do we need to kind of take this into consideration when you're creating a plan for your client?
Awesome. I love that. So I'm going to switch gears here for a moment because we're talking a lot about Tracers, the product, and I want to know more about Shauna, the person. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like to re-enter the workforce, but more importantly, to be a leader in a tech company. Can you share a little bit more about that experience, that journey, and maybe there's somebody listening to this that can be inspired from some of the things that you've done. So I'd like to just dive into that for a moment.
Absolutely. So, it was a difficult decision do I pause and my career, and then and I look back and I'm so grateful for making the decision to do that. And I would love, and I open about sharing that because I, hope that it can inspire other women to know that, if that is what you do choose, their work and opportunities will never go away. And that has been my experience is, I came back in after years and after raising these young kids, and I'm back with even more energy and with a different perspective, and I think a level of fearlessness, and it's served me well, and it's been incredibly fun. Like I'm grateful to have a job to come to every morning and to be working with people. I feel energized and so motivated before I even took this break. So it really has been an opportunity of reinventing myself. And, I would not have known that I would have ended up at Tracers, but it made sense in that, it was technology, and I enjoy technology, and I enjoy companies that are, going through changes and that are evolving. And so I knew that that was like my sweet spot. So so it was an easy choice to come on board Tracers. But then I also want to say, I feel very fortunate to have landed in the whole legal tech world. It has been, Tracers, though we've been around for 24 years and we've had attorneys on our platform for over 20 years, Tracers had never been to a legal conference where their attorneys, or to a bar association event, or to, just any of these shows that one would think Tracers would be at. And so this year it's been, we were just at, the ABA Tech, and have been, just doing lots of other different shows that we're finding, attorneys. And it's been incredible to just the vibe and the excitement in the whole legal tech world has been incredible. So it's really had a good 6 months.
I from your earlier part of your response, I came up with once you've raised an infant and potty trained and dealt with the terrible twos, you can pretty much manage anybody, right?
Yes, you
Question
can.
about a question about your experience with legal tech, and now you're going to these conferences. I'm a big proponent of the fact that the legal industry needs to evolve, and it needs to evolve quickly. And historically, it's been a very slow industry to adapt technology, to grow with technology. And it's been playing catch up over the last 10 years. Currently, do you see a difference in the demographics of who is interested in legal tech and who isn't? 10 years ago, I couldn't get my mother-in-law to pick up a smartphone. Well, I don't even know if smartphones were here then. 2010. Got to figure that out. But when smartphones first came out, there was a lot of resistance for older people to even touch it. Then it took a long time, and they would hide behind the fact of, oh, it's too difficult, I can't figure it out. Young people picked it up right away, so there's always this knack for young people to just gravitate to technology a lot quicker than older people. But now, my in-laws, they rely on their smartphones, their laptops, their iPads, their Apple TV. Without it, they'd be lost. So they've come to the playground, right? What are you seeing in the legal industry as far as lawyers are concerned? Do you still see a dichotomy, or is it kind of like everybody's finally woken up and realized, this is I need to embrace technology if I want to be successful?
That's an excellent question. And what we have been finding is that when an attorney is aware of this technology and gets a demo and they see it live in action, that's it. Like, it's just like you see just the wheels in motion of like, oh my goodness, yes, of course. Like, why would I be going on the internet online and spending, an hour or what have you to try to find this information that at a click of a button is all right here? And so not only are you making more use of your utilization, right? Because it's all about, you got to utilize your time as an attorney and your billable hours. And so, Tracers is incredibly efficient, and the amount of data that is going to be returned to you is a game changer. Which brings up an interesting, something that I wanted to speak a little bit about today, which is how, data and how it has pretty much reformatted every profession in our country, whether that be a baseball team and figuring out, all of the behind of just how you run your team, or sports team, or down to, healthcare organizations and, how they make decisions, actionable, using data for actionable insights, or advertising. And
We could even look at today with what's going on with COVID-19. I'm in New York State. Governor Cuomo has been doing a daily press release, 11 a.m. every single day, and literally the first 20 minutes is reviewing the data. How many people have been hospitalized? How many people have been tested? How many have tested positive? How many have gone to the ICU? How many deaths do we have? All of those data points collectively are creating a picture that's allowing them to figure out, okay, we need more than the Javits Center as a hospital. We need to add a boat. We need to, so they're, all of the resources they're projecting they're going to need is based off of the data they have, so that we're not caught with this influx of patients that we can't treat. So I love that example of healthcare because it's pertinent for what's going on right now. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Keep going.
but that is what we're trying to educate the legal vertical is. This profession is no different. You need data, and you need data that has been, there's so many, points of data. There's billions and billions of records. Do you really want to spend your time or your paralegal's time trying to capture all of that data so that then you can make an educated decision our technology is simply put our job is to gather all of this fragmented data from thousands of different sources and billions of records, and we create the 360-degree profile for then the attorney to simply go in and look at and be like, okay, now I can see what I'm dealing with. So where do I begin my case? Like how does this impact my case versus trying to do catch up, learning something from someone else. Like, you want to begin a case knowing the facts. And so this is a tool where it's so efficient and it's going to put you in the know, and you're going to be working for a complete picture, which is very important. There's just no reason to try to go find that information yourself, because this is what our tool is designed to do.
Yeah, I want to even reiterate what you said and maybe make your argument a little bit stronger coming from the practice management piece, right? What you said is that there's billions and billions, if not, there's more. There's whatever the number is, it's higher, trillions, it's higher than trillions. There are points of data out there. And your software's job is to compile that data in a way that it is presentable in a meaningful and readable format for the attorney. So they put in a search request, and now you go and comb through all of these points of data that you have in this massive database and come back with a report that has gathered everything that might be meaningful to them to create this, to bring it together for them so that it's useful for what they need, which is, when you think of it like that, it gives even more value to what it is that you're doing. You're comparing it to going and doing a search on the internet, but my guess is that even though this is all public record, a lot of this stuff might not even be accessible on the internet easily. So it's when you search on the internet, it's how did you search? What search term did you use? And then even then, so a lot of this stuff is behind paywall websites. So now you have to be paying for 17 different websites to even get the information that you want, where here you have it in one application, one platform, and can access it at the touch of a button. So totally understand that, and it makes a lot of sense. Where I want to go with the business side is, here on the podcast, I harp on the fact that the business model of small law firms, solo and smalls, is broken. And solos and smalls need to look at a new way to bill for what they're doing. And I talk about flat fee billing, I talk about package pricing, I talk about subscription models and membership models and things like that. And the beauty is that when you can find a tool that's going to make you more efficient and you're not billing by the hour, you suddenly make more profit. So if it used to take you 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and not you personally, maybe it was a staff member, but it took you all that time to compile this information before, and you're not billing by the hour, and now you put this in and you get all that time back, that's massive. That's huge. And it allows your staff to be able to handle so much more, or for you to not need the next hire things like that. So when you start thinking of freeing up time, which is the most valuable asset in your firm, people's time, especially if it's your time as the attorney, anything that you can spend money on that's going to free up your time is well worth it when you start to look at it that way. So just to confirm, your software product, is it a cloud-based product? It's accessible from anybody's computer, wherever they are. They can get on their iPad and do it. They don't need to install software and have a database installed locally on their server, correct?
Correct. Yes. So
Okay.
you can
And is
online.
it affordable for, I'm sorry, I cut you off. I didn't realize you were still talking. I apologize. Finish your sentence. Go ahead.
Yeah, so and that's also the beauty of it is that I was talking to an attorney the other day and he was like, it was in the middle of the night and I realized, oh my goodness, I forgot to look at this angle of the case. So in the middle of the night, he got up, ran the search that he needed. Instead of having to, traditionally an attorney maybe would have had to go hire a private investigator, which takes time. It's it's expensive. And there's a lag time of when you actually get results. And they are powerful to use an investigator, but in certain cases, you can run a tracer's report and then see, okay, where do I need to investigate even further? And you can do that at any moment. It's there for you.
Awesome. I love that. So the question I was jumping into before I cut you off is this affordable for the solo, for the small, the law firm with 4 people in it? How is this set up so that they can have access to the same powerful tools that perhaps these much larger multi-million-dollar law firms have?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're very attuned to like the challenges of the small firms because we have on the platform, we have lots of solos, small firms, but we even have large firms. And but we're proud of the amount of solos that are on our firm because that's where we are seeing that we're making an incredible impact on their practice. And when we started learning of like why are so many of these solos on our platform, and we realized that that attorneys, to your point, Moshe, that 40% of their time is being used on administrative tasks. And this is a big issue because that is you want to increase those billable hours, and having only 3 hours that are being billed every day is an issue. And so this is exactly where Tracers comes in, is we really can help increase that revenue for a small firm. Because you can, easily run these reports, which, by the way, you can attach a matter to. And so then you can, so the client, that can be part of, you can bill them for the searches that are run by attaching to a matter. And then an attorney is able to print out a PFD or, PDF report as well for each case that they're working on. And it's, we're also finding is that, for the smaller firms that, that the clients are wanting more for less. And the attorneys are even more pressured to wow their clients. And a lot of the larger and, medium-sized law firms use tools like this. They have access, and they have, maybe junior associates or a staff of paralegals that are doing this investigative research for them. And so they have all this information. And so this is, a technology like Tracers really can level the playing field for the solo and small firms, because it gives you the same access to the data so that you have just as much information. And that is extremely important.
Love that. And when it comes to this attaching to the matter, that sounded like a practice management software function. So do you integrate with every practice management software out there? How exactly does that work?
Excellent question. So we've integrated with Clio. And so that we're also constantly trying to put ourselves in the shoes of an attorney and a solo. So, everything, it's so important for convenience. And so you want to be on Clio, you easily can then go into tracers, just everything just needs to be talking and working together. So we already are integrated with Clio. We are speaking to a lot of other practice management software companies as well right now, and hoping to have more integrations there, just because we want to make things more convenient for the attorney. We want to help them save time so they can make more money. And we do also have the integrations with case text and case maker, so that when you are doing your traditional research, you can easily kind of get to tracers and then complete that research with the public records. And we're always looking to, through these partnerships, create put these complementary technologies together. I think everyone wins in the long run.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the problems as so many pieces of software arise is this, oh my gosh, I've got 1,700 different applications that I need to get them all to talk to each other and work together. And there is a tool out there called Zapier that allows you to do webhooks between applications. In other words, if somebody calls into the firm, they're a brand new lead, we can take their information, put it into my CRM, and then my CRM triggers through Zapier to enter a record into my Clio. And so my question to you is do you integrate with Zapier yet, so that somebody who wants to run a search on every single matter that comes in, they can have this triggered automatically, so that that report is already created and ready and in the case file by the time you're talking to that client for the first time?
Okay, no, we are not integrated with Zapier yet. However, I just made a note because we will be contacting them. And this is also the beauty of gets back to why Tracers feels like a startup is, we can pivot quickly and make things happen when, we are always asking attorneys, what is going to make it better for you? How can we improve? What will make your life and your practice run more efficiently? And then when we hear from them, that's how we know what to go do next. And so I will contact them and see what can happen there.
Awesome. Perfect. So I didn't mean to give you more work, but I do think that having that middleman it opens up the gamut of who you can talk to, because all those other CRMs that you might be trying to create connections to, native connections, which may still be worthwhile to do, they already might have connections to Zapier, where now it sits in the middle. Once you create that API or whatever, I'm not a developer, but that's what they do is, right, they have this open API and it talks to Zapier, and then Zapier can then, the user can determine what actions they want to take based on the behavior that happens. So basically you go in and you say, if this happens, so if somebody gets tagged in my CRM or somebody gets added into, a new matter gets created in Clio, then automatically I want to trigger this action, and that action, it could be multiple steps. But the beauty of that is that we can automate so many things that are currently being done manually. And what happens is when people do things manually is, first of all, it costs us time, right? But more importantly than that, it opens the door for human error. The more we can get a machine to do things for us, the less human error happens in that process. And so, if this is a search that's practically going to be run on every client that becomes a client, and there's no cost to running the search, you're just paying for your user license, there's no reason not to have that automatically kick off and, and then stored and, wherever it is. So I don't know your platform, and, I'll let your developers figure that out, but I think that could be a really valuable addition to the product. So one last question that I have for you, and then we'll go to wrap up this this interview and this episode, and I think that you might have an offer for people who are interested in kicking the tires on tracers, so we'll let you give them that information. But my question is you mentioned that there are other pieces of software that do the same job that you do. And other than competing on price, what sets tracers apart from those competitors? Why should somebody use tracers as opposed to, and I forget the names that you threw out there, but the one owned by LexisNexis or the other one that you mentioned? what do they get when they go to tracers that they're not going to get with those other vendors?
So, we promote that for any attorney, whoever you use, just to use a professional tool. This is, to go and do your research online on the internet is, you have a business, like you need a professional tool. And I, lots of the professional tools are excellent. I think where tracers is different is that we kind of give that extra level of support to a user. And so particularly for like a solo who may not be an expert in running public records, it can be tricky. If you're looking for a common name like a John Smith, there's millions of them out there. And so sometimes, when you're searching a record, you may get what we call is a no hit. And so we offer, so it's like a corner hardware store analogy is what we like to say, is that when you are a Tracer's client, you can ask us for help of like, I'm not getting the record. I'm not finding this. I know that, this witness has, 2 criminal history records and I'm all, or, 7, but I'm only finding 2. Why is that? Then you call us, and with it easily, we get a, there will be someone, a human on the phone, walking you through that and helping you run that search and educating you on the why you weren't able to find that. So there's this kind of this concierge white glove service that we offer the attorneys, which makes a big difference, because ultimately it's about finding the facts that you need for your case.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And then there's also just a pricing part of it, is we try to just make it flexible so that, because the bottom line is, you need to find the technologies that are going to impact your practice. And so that's, because I think there was the report that said if you can make even the smallest difference of 0.5% in your utilization rate, that just by changing that 1.5% over 5 years, that you're able to, double your revenue. So, that's powerful. So if Tracers is that tool that can help you do that, that's great. If not, we don't want you to be stuck using us. So there isn't a long-term, contract that you're required to sign. You can do a monthly, for kind of for if you're not running a lot of searches, we have a monthly, month by month program. And then typically most attorneys are, see the value, and so will it becomes part of their everyday workflow. And so that they're, running higher volumes and more searches. And so that then we also have, a price point developed for them where you can run up to, a high level of searches, and you don't have to worry about racking up all, expensive costs, so that, you can feel good and confident that you're not going to be shown a big bill at the end of the month. And then we also do have, for the attorneys that have, just have been using Tracers for a while, they know this is what they need, then you absolutely can, lock in those longer term contracts, and then, see the value realized from, doing those as well.
Awesome. Love it. I love I love the concept. I love the tool. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know how much time they're spending doing it, but I imagine that there are a number of attorneys out there that are listening to this saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. I need to get my hands on it. So why don't you share with us where somebody would go if they want to find out more about the product, and if you have any special promotion you want to provide them, feel free to share that now with our audience.
You bet. We would like to offer everyone that's listening today 14 days of a free trial. And so to claim that, you can go to www.tracers.com and say 14 days to the account management person that you speak to, or anyone, and they will make sure that you can, try us out and see how it goes.
Awesome. Shauna, thank you so much for coming here on the show, being so giving with your time and for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure that you've inspired somebody out there today. So if nothing else, you've got that going for you. But maybe there's a bunch of people who have heard this episode that really could use tracers, and they're going to go to tracers.com and get started with you. So I do appreciate you joining us. And for those of you who have made it through to the end of the episode, I really appreciate you being here. If you are not yet a subscriber to the show, please hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified every time we release a new episode. We have a brand new episode coming out every Tuesday. Those are solo episodes where I share information with you. Hopefully it's valuable. I believe it's valuable, but hopefully it's valuable to you. And then we have guest episodes on Thursdays. So you tune in twice a week to us, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And every once in a while, when a pandemic hits, you might be hit with a new episode every single day, because we just want to help you and make sure that you keep running. But we are back to our regular programming. I'm really happy about that. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, just hit that subscribe button to make sure that you are getting these episodes delivered to you in your podcast player. And with that, Shauna, take care and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I'm coming back to you here at the end of the interview because in our post-recording conversation, I asked Shauna, I said, can somebody not sign up for tracers on the website and get 14 days free? And she said, of course they can. So it might have been a little bit unclear when she shared that with you that you need to get on the phone with them. You absolutely do not. Go to tracers.com and just click on the link there to get signed up, and just fill out the little information form, and you'll have access to your 14-day free trial. So I just wanted to clarify that for her, and let me know if you checked it out, if it's a good product. It's nothing that I'm going to get my hands on, so curious to know if it's helping you guys, helping my community. I'd like to be able to give that feedback to them as well, and hopefully we can see tracers involved with some of our events coming forward. So absolutely wonderful interview. I enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that you did too. With that, take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning into the Profit with Law podcast. Your feedback is extremely valuable to us, as well as helping us reach more people with this valuable content. Please leave us a rating and review in your favorite podcast directory. Join us again next time when we are back with even more strategies to profit with law.